Welcome, runners and spectators, to the final match in the third round of the ACES competition. My name's Eisen, and I'm joined here by Remo.
Hello.
We have two very strong teams competing today. Both have a score of 1-1 and will be fighting to secure a positive score going out of round 3. The first team is the Bloodbath Bay Buccaneers, consisting of Mapioto, Knave, and Professor BS2. The other team is the Prague Bombers, consisting of Phobos, Turk, and Dire.
Yeah, I think we're looking forward to a very interesting match today between these two teams. Yeah, both are pretty evenly matched on the paper, at least, and no one really knows what's gonna happen today. But we're gonna find out within 2 to 3 hours.
It could honestly go both ways, but we'll just have to see how things shake out.
Yeah, what do you guys think? What are the strengths and weaknesses on the paper before the match for the both teams in question? Where do you think the strong points, weak points lie? Maybe for the Buccaneers first on the left side, competing as Team A.
So for the Buccaneers, they have a decently good coverage of all three games across the board. I think what they'll mainly be looking for is securing a safe and comfortable episode for Professor PS2, who is a bit less experienced, but has these two other runners ready to support him and help out.
Yeah, and for the Bombers, Phobos is strong in all the 3 games. Turk pretty much has the Slide 2 as main game, and Did They is pretty good in Slide 2 and Slide 3. So the bans have already started, and the first bans come from the 4 bans, 2 from Slide 2, 1 from Slide 3, and 1 from Slide 4. They came from the Buccaneers, and the Buccaneers first decided to ban 2-4, 2-5, and 3-6 and 4-3 against the Bombers. Really interesting choices, because I would have thought that the Buccaneers would have banned Slide 4 episode 5 first, because Phobos is probably the strongest in that episode relative to the Buccaneers team skill.
Definitely. And here we have the first band from the Prague Bombers, consisting of 2-1, 2-8, 3-5, and 4-1. All, yeah. Right now we're waiting for the Bombers to pick their first episode that will be run for this event.
Yeah, the Bombers did stick with banning 3-5 first once again.
And it looks like we're running 2-3, everyone's favorite.
Yeah, 2-3, understandable pick for the Bombers. They pretty much needed to pick Slide 2 episode once again, just to secure that Turk has a episode that he's comfortable with running, and pretty understandable that they banned 2-1 and 2-8 first, because that's probably 2-8 probably the weakest episode overall for the Bombers in Slide 2, and 2-1 that's probably the strongest Buccaneers in that game. And we see that Bloodbath Bay Buccaneers use their first pick and their only pick to 3-3. So they're probably banking on Knave to run that episode.
Most likely. Now, the Prague Bombers are getting 2 more bans here, who can be from any game, any episode. We're seeing 4-2 being banned and 3-4 being banned.
Understandable. 4-2, Mapioto is pretty strong in that episode relative to the Phobos skill set in that game at the times that he has. So having 4-5 open is still for the Bombers to pick is pretty scary. So I'd assume that the Buccaneers would ban that, at least at this point.
Speaking of Buccaneers banning, they now have 4 bans, which can be from any episode once again.
Yeah, the Buccaneers can really strategize this out. They can completely rule out Slide 2 or Slide 3 or Slide 4 for getting picked the second time, or the Bombers using their pick for that. And we see that the bans did come in. Yes, they did ban 4-5 as expected. So I'd guess that the Bombers, yes, they picked 4-4 as expected from these available options. There was 2-7, 3-2, and 4-4 basically available. And if we're thinking that Turk is gonna run 2-3 and Knave 3-3 and then Dite 3-3 and
so we're getting one episode per game here. Now, if you're the Buccaneers, who would you want to go and in what order?
Well, 2-3, 3-3, and 4-4. Well, if I would be the Buccaneers, I would have probably picked 3-3 first because Navy is probably really comfortable with that, but instead they're putting it last. So I guess Mapiothor is really ready to run 4-4 against Phobos here, and that's why they decided to go first with that order.
Probably.
Interesting.
So right now, the first runners have 2 minutes to 2 minutes remaining to prepare their file, get ready to run. And in the meantime, we can talk about if you are the or from the Bombers' perspective, who do you think will be going on each episode?
Yeah, I think Phobos is gonna do 4-4. That's pretty much a given since he's the only one from the Bombers who's strong on Sly 4. Turk is gonna do 3-2, and Dite is gonna do 3-3 against Knave. And from the picks, since the Buccaneers picked it, I would have, just based on sheer amount of practice time available, maybe put Professor at the last running position. Maybe it's also a good idea to have one of the stronger runners in the team also do the final episode so that Professor doesn't have to finish it up and get the pressure maybe from having a lead at that point and such, because
definitely will be much easier to carry a pace than to wrap up a tense run. Definitely.
Yeah, but maybe there would have been a point to that, because in the previous match, Turk was the last runner on Bomber's side, and in that match he was literally one hit away from closing in a mid 32-minute time, also in the same episode, 3-2. And I think that would have been a PB by about 2 seconds for him even. But then some unfortunate things happened, and he actually did die to Rashawn in the fight there. And that was also at the very end of the run, so...
And that just goes to show you can never know how a race is gonna end until the very end. Speaking of races, we are off. The runners have both exited the hideout. We're now waiting at the famous Sly 4 loading screens.
Yes, they are pretty infamous, but for the most part, if you're running with SSD, as both of these runners definitely are, the loading screens are not that bad. The longest ones are about 20 seconds long, and on disk they could have been at up to 40 seconds, but with SSD, it's honestly not that bad when you think about it. Well, compared to what it could be if you were playing on disk, at least.
So you're saying Sly 4 is pay to win?
Yes. Yes,
lovely.
But it's less pay to win than Sly 2 and Sly 3, because to run the game optimally, you only need the SSD, but for Sly 2, you're gonna have to also acquire the Korean version to play it optimally, which overall costs a bit more than having the optimal version bought
So-
for slide 3 or slide 4.
If we have a look at the runners, they are very, very synchronized right now. This is already off to being an excellent opening for both of them.
That is really expected because both Mapioto and Phobos are, their PB times are actually extremely close to each other in this episode in particular, because Phobos has a time of 49:10. It's a third place time in this episode, and Mapioto has a 49:17, a fourth place time. So literally 7-second difference, and they're closest to each other. Well, so here with the first skip of the episode, Mapio actually takes the lead by getting a successful, faster tavern skip here. And Phobos had to do a backup strat, which cost him a little bit of time. That's one of the biggest skips in the entire game, actually. Skips basically the entire room, the platforming section in the tavern. And here, Mapioto is gonna do a strat where he did a hideout warp. That's basically achievable by buffering in an X input. Phobos is gonna do the same strat here as well.
Mm-hmm.
Both did it successfully because that's expected based on their high skill level. Both of the runners have. But basically, the tricks works in a way that since you buffered the X input already from the start of the load and you jump instantly, basically the game doesn't update your grounded position on the roof of that building, and instead it defaults to the default spawn location, or like the respawn location for that particular map. The entire episode 4 hub, which is the location where you spawn when you normally exit the safe house or the hideout. So
Yes.
saves about 3.5 seconds up to there in that instance. Right. Now this is the system cracker hacking section that we see right now being played by both runners. Slide 4 has 3 different types of hacking sections: System Cracker, Alter Ego, and the Spark Runner. This is the one that resembles the closest of the original hacking in Slide 2 and 3 mainly. So
Yep.
that's also why it's usually regarded as the most people's favorite hacking type in this game, just simply because the gameplay functions most similarly to the old hacking stages in Slide 2 and 3. And also, I have to admit, the gameplay in itself is miles ahead of the enjoyability of the other hacking times in this game, since the other one is an auto-scroller, almost all throughout, and the other one is a motion control system. So it is definitely a given that this is the most popular choice when it comes to Slide 4 hacking.
Yes. We of course always love some forced motion controls. Absolutely. So we are seeing Mapioto exiting the hack first, which is expected as he got out of the tavern faster as well. With Phobos following just behind him.
Something's funny. If you can't stand the heat, try closing those
This
other
place is
doors
making me
wide.
hungry.
Perfect.
And our lovely producer has just told me in my little earpiece that at the end of this stream, you might want to stick around for a special announcement. Cannot go into details, but you will want to see this. Now, Remo, I have not played this game a whole lot, but what is going on in this shop? Why are we collecting wood and metal and other fun bits?
Sounds like it's time for a trip to the shoemaker.
I absolutely agree. So, I'm gonna assume that we are making some sort of are we making the disguise, I think? Oh, there goes. Alright. Solo commentary time, let's go. Okay. So, basically, right now, Mapio and Phobos are
Okay, Sliders, better
heading
leave some
into
leather in there. Find it.
this room which has leather in it. And leather is very cool because you can make things out of it. Hello, Remo? I miss him already.
Bad guys and lasers.
Great job. With those materials, I'm going to be able to make use of very useful items.
All right, that is that job complete that I definitely know the name of, as we will now head into Juggling Act, I believe the name is, where we will meet Sir Galef, I think. Yep, that does seem to be where we are going. Much appreciated. Welcome, our producer Stevens.
Hello. Juggling act. This is an exciting split. A lot of really tight movement once they get inside of the circus tent.
Definitely some of the sickest platforming in
Okay, Sly, get
in
up
this game,
that tower and you can
from
bring
what
out
I've
the
seen.
new outfit and
Yeah.
toy I made with those materials.
It's really tight cycles. And now that it'd be really cool if the new tech that Mapio found, the displacement boost, if we could use them better in Juggling Act, but apparently with the cycles it's really hard to actually be able to use them well.
Definitely. So here we see Mapio actually skipping the rope and just simply climbing the outside of the tent. Like the absolute madman he is.
Very nice.
Meanwhile, Phobos is being taught how a bow and arrow works.
Yeah, Phobos not too far behind. If anyone's gonna go for a displacement boost, it's definitely gonna be Mapio though. I don't know how comfortable Phobos is with them, but both of these runners are gonna have a really clean juggling act. You see them going backwards there for a second. It's actually because in Sly 4 there's chained triggers, so he has to go back and get the checkpoint before he can go forward.
Right, like a checkpoint system.
Yeah. Waiting for the cycles on the trapeze swings.
I hate the smell of singed
Nicely done by Mapiotho.
Absolutely.
See, right here with Mapiotho is where a displacement boost would be really nice, but
Yeah.
very likely to get hit by the cannonballs going for it, so.
Definitely. I do not believe a safe setup has been found for this yet, or even is possible.
And luckily,
As we see Phobos following closely behind, approaching the same jump that, or the same rope that Mapio was just at.
he fell off the first time, then didn't get his cycle set up for the second time, unfortunately.
Unfortunate.
Okay, he got it this time. Nice little circle boost.
Nice. As we see Mapio skipping over some dragons, and I presume hitting a checkpoint to respawn where he wants and skipping some platforming. Ooh, doesn't quite make the jump.
Alright.
Still gets back.
Might be back? Question mark?
Yo, Remo, welcome back.
Yeah. Inexplicable internet connection issues. It seems on my end only.
That is indeed unfortunate, but we have kept the ship running. Everything is in order.
Yep. Bobo's having a bit of issues with this last skip to the final checkpoint. Nicely does it with a cane stall. that is a nice backup to use when you have just slightly not enough height to make it make it over there without the cane stall. And cane stalling has been has been starting to get utilized a lot lately in many different scenarios. Even as a backup like that, like in example, it also works in the episode 2 Jailhouse Blues bowling strat. If you don't get enough height for that skip, you can use cane stall to back it up. You can also use cane stalling in the shopping spree tavern skip to back it up a bit if you don't get enough height to get to the platform normally. So it is a very useful backup in many different scenarios these days. Now we can see that after juggling act, the difference of the two runners has increased, and it looks like Mapio is ready to run this episode full swing. Phobos, on the other hand, maybe feeling a bit rusty right now with the execution, since
Could be.
yeah, in Sly 4, time differences mean a lot more than in the other games. Of course, this type of difference is not that great already in Sly 2 and 3 standards, but just talking about Sly 4 right now, this difference after just 2 jobs does seem quite substantial.
It does indeed. Those miss jumps and not quite hit techs are gonna start to add up, unless we see some upset from Mapio's side.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
So here we are onto cane retrieval, something like that.
Cane Swipe is the job name.
Cane swipe.
Yeah, Sly 4 does utilize a lot of different kind of puns and tricks with words with the job names. They took inspiration from it, probably from the Sly 3 job names. Overall, in the series, when it progressed, the job names became more and more, well,
bit more creative.
inventive. Yeah, creative and inventive. In Sly 2, they were just pretty standard all throughout.
It's like descriptions of what you were doing.
Yeah.
Speaking of creative, here we have Mapioto entering everyone's favorite hacking minigame, the Alter Ego. And could you perhaps explain why everyone loves these minigames so much?
Well, there are other scrollers where the screen just scrolls through a predetermined direction, and only the final boss is the time where you can gain or lose time before that. Of course, there are instances where if you're not careful, you can try to go to the side of the screen, technically, usually the side where it's scrolling towards, and the game just basically thinks that you're not where you're supposed to be. So if you just get left behind, the game returns you to a previous location in the auto-scroller section without any upgrades or whatsoever. So that's also one method how you can lose a lot of time in these hacks. But this hack in particular is the only hack where the screen scrolls upwards throughout the entire hack. It does also scroll upwards, if I recall correctly, in some of the arcade hacks, but that's about it. And the early boss kill that Mapioto is definitely going to attempt, which saves about 3.5 seconds. Let's see if he gets it. Yes, he does. That is actually the most difficult of the early CPU core.
Yeah, I noticed the boss was spawned in beforehand instead of appearing from the side of the screen like it usually does.
Yeah, the setup is not as easy as with the other hacks because of the positioning and the setting up the angle for going for the early kill there.
Right.
Yeah.
As we're seeing Mapioto retrieving the cane and clearing the job. Meanwhile, Phobos is making his way through the hack, approaching the end here.
Let's see if Phobos is gonna get the early kill, or is the difference between the runners going to increase by another 3.5 seconds?
It looks
It
like it
is.
is.
It is. Now, this is real. Oh no! Oh
Oof.
no! Oh no! Okay, this is really not fortunate at all for Phobos. He's gonna lose another 7 seconds ish for the third cycle.
This is not what we want to see.
Yeah, it could be even worse with some of the hacks, like that pattern we saw after the missed early kill. He did the CPU core did kind of like a quick scan through the entire area, and the quick scan is a lot better than the slow scan. The boss can also do a slow scan throughout the area, and that is present in some of the other hacks. And if you miss a cycle where a slow scan of the screen takes place afterwards, you can lose 17 seconds if you miss a cycle like that.
That would be a disaster, absolutely.
Now, Mapiothor is going for some of advanced movement here as Galeth in the first Galeth job Eye in the Sky gets the movement nicely. There's actually a new route that saves about a second being found for that particular tower scaling recently this year, yes. Now, Mapiothor himself has found this route right here that he's doing right now, which saves about a second. He cane stalls up and gets a ledge grab proxy up to the platform where he directly circle boosted onto the hook there.
That looked very tight. Like, is that at all like easy, or do you need to sit down and learn it?
Yeah, it's not the hardest strat in this episode, not nearly. I'd say the first tower strat is even a bit harder than that. So
all right.
That was actually, with the current set of strats, I'd say that second tower Mapio route there is actually the easiest tower scaling in this job. Now let's see how Phobos manages the first tower. Very nicely done. Mapio also cleanly cleared the third tower as well, and I'd say that's a pretty good split for Mapio. He's absolutely flying right now in this episode run of Sly for episode 4 in this ACES match right now.
Let's see if Phobos gets the jump.
He does not.
Ah,
he does not.
That's unfortunate. He's gonna try again.
Yes,
He
but
is,
it doesn't.
and he gets
Unfortunately, doesn't matter because of the cycle. So Phobos is actually going to lose a full 12 seconds here to Mapiothor in this particular tower scaling section now.
So you're saying Mapiothor found a small time skip that only he can achieve, so that he could mess up his opponents. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, yeah, you can say that. You can say that for sure.
Truly devious stuff.
Absolutely. Mapiothor's already going to the next job, Mechanical Menace, another Gala job. But before that, let's see what Phobos is going to do with the third tower scaling. He does not get the Mysterious Reflex strat first try. He does not get it second try.
Oh.
He does not get it third try either. Nor fourth try.
What's he going for here?
What are you doing?
Nor fifth try. I'd say his angle is a bit off there. He's aiming directly towards the wall when he should aim a bit more towards the right corner of the wall.
Right, that pipe going up should be going more into that.
Since this feels like it's not going anywhere, yes, Phobos does the right decision in that instance, and just skips the Mysterious Reflexes strat entirely. But I'd say that lost a good 25 to 30 seconds more for Phobos. So the difference, it's not getting smaller at least. And based on this first half of Sly 4 episode 4, we are seeing a situation where the Buccaneers could absolutely just run with the lead here. Unfortunate event for Mapiothor though.
Oh, does get caught on the flame. Gets sent back to the bottom.
He did get a checkpoint there though, so it wasn't that bad.
Nice. Now I noticed he was loading a save. Was that just to get back to
Yes.
Yeah, to reset the cycle and get it where he's used to it being?
Yes. Because of the restarting checkpoint, he does lose more time to the cycle there, so I'd say it may even just break even to just try and get up there from the position he already had. I haven't timed that, I'm not sure though.
Gonna see Mapio entering the mechanical dragon fight, I'm gonna call it.
Yeah, the Moat Monster boss fight. Now, this is one of the instances that the developers advertised before the game was published. The gameplay section.
They did.
Carmelita. Yeah, you remember that?
I do remember that.
Yeah. They also advertised the Juggling Act interior section in the circus, so they actually advertised 2 different instances from this episode. It's kind of
Must have
interesting.
been
They
really
own
proud
it.
of it.
Yeah. I mean, it is the only Carmelita gameplay section, like actual gameplay section, aside from the episode 2 operation. In the other job in episode 2, you're just shooting as Carmelita, you're not doing any movement as her. So
Yeah,
there's not a lot of section to choose for if you want to advertise Carmelita gameplay in the story. There wasn't much.
Yeah, and I doubt they show off the EP5 operation to advertise Carmelita gameplay. Maybe
Yeah,
if they were aiming for another audience.
Yeah, they definitely want to maybe secure that. In case of stories, more story spoilers, they'd probably choose this.
This cool
job
dragon,
in
who knows what
middle-
that's about.
Middle of episode 4, yeah. But
Yep.
basically, this section is unfortunately another auto-scroller section for the most part. Like, you just gotta take out the missiles, like, rather quickly enough. But you don't even have to be super fast to just not lose time there to optimal ever. Phobos failing the skip there for the first time. Let's see if he gets his second try. The
He does.
monster lair platforming skip at the top of the tower. He does get his second try. So
Nice.
basically there's a very narrow platform there that you can stand on. And if you circle boost on the railing there, you can basically skip a bunch of platforming worth 8 seconds there at the top of the tower. And Phobos also faithful to full game strats and not having the charge shot power-up being pre-equipped. And he has to equip it. It still saves time overall in this job. Like, another quote-unquote meme or joke with Sly 4 is that gadgets in this game actually don't save a whole lot, aside from Paraglider, which is already a required power-up to purchase in the
Coming
game.
in at a hefty 100 coins.
Yes. So we have a lot of gadgets that save no time at all, or just very, very minor amounts of time.
Mm-hmm. Or maybe some a bit more of just conveniences, like the smoke bomb, for example.
Yeah. So in an any percent setting and episode run setting, this is the only location where charge shot is useful, and it does save about 5 seconds in this job, which is pretty hefty amount in this game standards for one gadget to save in one job, which is 5 seconds. One of the best numbers like that in the entire game.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah, and the equip only lost about 1.6 seconds probably, so you're still gonna be saving almost 4 seconds. The full time save is 5.7 seconds. If you don't pre-fire any of the mouths with a default gun, you can actually pre-fire some mouths when multiple of them are well, doing the dragon thing, like spitting fire basically.
Yep.
Towards Carmelita. You can pre-fire those. So if you don't count the pre-firing, then the time save is 5.7 seconds. But usually you can pre-fire one or two shots, so realistically the time save is about 5 seconds. You can hear me talking about these time saves, and this is basically the level of precision that we can use for timing stuff in this game in particular. Like in Sly 2 and Sly 3, we have power-ups that save like minutes upon minutes. So it's pretty it's pretty irrelevant that something would save like 5.5 seconds. There's no reason to say things like that in slide 2 or slide 3. It's just, oh, it saves like 1 minute and 30 seconds. Adrenaline burst or stealth slide or rocket boots, whatever. Yeah, sure. Nice info. But with this game, with the power-ups in this game, we actually have to go into a bit more detail to be absolutely sure that something actually does or does not save time, because it's that tight, power-ups in this game.
Yeah, good example as you brought up yourself. If you look at adrenaline burst in the second and third game and then compare to this one, it is night and day. One is a lot more efficient than the other, to say the least.
Yes, definitely. Adrenaline burst saves like about 2 minutes in slide 2 and 3, and this game it saves what, 10 seconds overall,
Which
the entire
is pretty
run.
massive.
Yes. It's still one of the biggest time saves for a power-up in the entire game. Probably like 4th or 5th place overall after paraglider, trigger bomb, and rail sprint. So now Phobos and Mappy authors have both entered a job called Short Supply. And you can see that the both runners are playing in English, and English is actually conveniently the fastest language for the episode where the characters are actually in England. Although at a time where probably the English language was a bit different to what it is these days. 1300s, early 1300s, yeah.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah, it would actually be unrecognizable to the current English language. But anyways, I digress. And Mapiothor is also already entering the mid section of the job, and Phobos is still in the early sections of the job. In the interior section, we're gonna see some specific routing for Phobos, whereas Mapiothor is gonna execute some very precise skips here to skip 2 arrow shooting instances. So a lot of times in slide 4, 80% and 100%, like some of the biggest skips can be achieved by skipping shooting arrows. And when you shoot arrows, it's gonna basically be standing still for like 5 or 6 seconds.
Yeah,
So
waiting for the arrow to whiz through the air.
Yeah, so there are many instances where we can actually skip shooting the arrows. We saw some of them already in Juggling Act, and there was 2 instances more in this job. And in 100% there's actually multiple instances like that more.
Right, because of the treasures and mask and what have you.
Yes, I'd say that in the 100%, the quality testing, game testing probably wasn't that optimal for the treasure location, like
Right.
treasure locations and stuff, because we can actually surpass most of the arrow shooting requirements for the treasures in the entire route.
Yeah, we have all these fancy techniques like launching Ryuichi to the stratosphere and what have you.
Costume launching is also an essential thing in slide 4, 100%, where from bouncy poles you can actually reach insane heights and speeds by equipping or unequipping either the episode 4 or 5 costume in this game, either the archer costume or the thief costume.
Right.
So
do
here,
we do we know why it's only the episode 4 and 5 costumes that work? I would assume it's because you retain most of Sly's original moveset, and that does something with something or another.
Yes, the movement for the costumes in the earlier episodes in this game are rather limited, so you can't actually jump with any of those. So that's the reason why you can also jump on thief objects or platforms like those bouncy poles, an example.
Gotcha.
So there, Mapiothor, when Mapiothor was doing the catapult what is it? Catapult crush technique, something like that. As Galeth, he didn't actually reach the top of the bakery's second floor, but he did still hit a trigger that triggered the next cutscene, so it didn't matter. Uphill though already done with short supply. Although still having the baker left for this job. Phobos probably out of habit decided to pause the game there, where there was an unskippable cutscene. Every pause like that loses at least 1.5 seconds, usually closer to 2 with normal reaction time if you pause the game unintentionally and you weren't prepared for that.
Yeah, because if you were meant to actually use the pause menu, you wouldn't think to just mash out of it.
Yes, that's true. So on average, it's probably around 1.8 seconds the expected time loss for an extra pause, I'd say. Now, Mapiotho is in an autoscroller section right now, so he's just gonna derp around and try some displacement boosts, basically.
So stalking this mysterious masked figure who no one's really sure the identity of.
Yeah,
could be anyone.
Could be anyone, really.
But yeah, we're seeing Phobos doing this job that I still remember the name of.
Clears out the section smoothly. That's actually a very big time loss, about 25 seconds at least if you hit the lasers there at the third section right before getting out of the bakery's second floor. But
is that a reload? Or reset?
Yeah, you have to basically do the section again entirely.
Ah, awful.
Yeah. At the end of the shell-shocked heart autoscroller section, there is a Binocucom cutscene cancel. So for some reason in this game, we don't actually still know why exactly. If you keep the Binocucom on or open the Binocucom when you enter certain cutscenes, then the cutscene that takes place afterwards just cancels itself out, like what happened there, and that saves some time. Basically, usually it saves the amount of time it takes for to manually skip the cutscene by pausing the game and selecting skip cinematic and the area reload.
Right. Now we saw Mapio go for a bomb boost, I believe they're called, to get on top of the building, not quite making it.
Yeah. In this game, I think the original name for that strat is a bomb leap, and that name comes from a runner called Furball the Ball, a Norwegian runner who discovered a lot of tech and glitches, a lot of glitch hunting and for this game back in the days, many years ago. He mostly did the most successful work that he did was that he found the disguised jump in Sly 3, the shadowed pounce in Sly 3, and many other types of tricks.
Both of which being absolutely fundamental movement tech these days.
Yes, exactly. So most of the stuff Furball found was in Sly 3, but he also found the feral pouncing off of ropes in Sly 2, and also a bomb leap in Sly 4, which we just saw Mapio utilize, and probably we'll see Phobos utilize it as well at the end of this after this autoscroller section.
Most likely.
The bomb leap itself actually was totally not useful, or uses for it were not thought out for a long time after it was found, and then all of a sudden people started implementing it in many various situations and scenarios. There we once again saw another bomb leap there, and we haven't even seen every one of them that are present in this job. And let's see if Phobos gets it.
And he makes it very clean. Successful, definitely.
About the bomb leap still, yeah, they actually do save overall a lot of time these days in the run. And since you can consistently execute it only with Trigger Bomb, that makes Trigger Bomb basically the the gadget that saves the most amount of time by far from all the additional gadgets.
Yeah, we just saw Phobos pull off another one.
Yes, so I'd say Trigger Bomb probably these days saves about 25 to 35 seconds in any percent. I don't have the updated
Holy
numbers,
shit,
but
absolutely massive.
yes, it is massive. It was already about 20 seconds before the bomb leaps were starting to get implemented. Now, both of the runners are in a hack, but it's a different hack. So, so there's actually two hacks in the Shell-Shocked Hard job. And EP4, once again, one of those...
Notorious for hacking.
Yeah, notorious for hacking, exactly. So, this episode has the most amount of hacks out of any episode in this game. Total number of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I believe. 5? Yeah, I think so.
You're probably right.
Yes. And this Shell-Shocked Heart alter ego auto-scroller is it is the second longest, I believe, after the EP5 alter ego. So
Excellent. It was very considerate of Sansara to add in these moments where runners can chat to their chats. That's very nice of them.
They can definitely chat, but they definitely also can't take a full break. So,
No, not quite. But that's where the cutscenes come in.
and overall, the alter ego hacks also get longer the further you are in the game. So this one and the EP5 alter egos are actually the longest alter egos in the game, in the story section. There are, I believe, might be some longer ones in the arcades.
Yeah, so as we all know, something taking longer means that it's harder. Of course.
Now at the end of this hack, you could execute a strat, what is called a early CPU core kill, which has been implemented to top level runs in EPs 1 and 5.
Right.
And it is technically possible as well with at the end of the alter ego hack in Shell-Shocked Heart, but it is not an RTA viable strat. It is too tight to pull off, at least at the moment, consistently in RTA setting. It would save 9 seconds though, which is absolutely massive for this game. So, it's probably good to keep in mind when we're talking about some future time saves to be implemented in this game at some point, at some day. Now there, Mafioso once again executed another Binocucom cutscene cancel, but it's just a small portion of it. If you don't know this game in and out, you basically wouldn't even notice that a skip took place there.
I just noticed him using iframes to escape the floor after the bomb boost.
Yeah. Bomb boost there, that's one of the biggest bomb leaps in this game in terms of time save. There. Especially when you take the Binocucom cutscene cancel into consideration, which saves additional 5 seconds. So there's basically a 5 seconds long animation where the Black Knight moves to a standstill position, and after that Penelope jumps out. There's actually no scripted animations in that 5 seconds taking place, so that's why that and only that portion of the cutscene gets cancelled out, because there wasn't anything vital that the game was scripted to perform, regardless of what happens exactly in the game. But the rest of the cutscene did play out normally because it was fully scripted out, the character movements and animations and whatnot. So basically, why the 5 seconds of the cutscene was skipped, that they just basically used the Black Knight model to move it around a bit, and they made that happen and made the camera angle happen, and that was it.
Yep. So we cannot currently see the screen, but it looks fine on the stream. Okay, we're back. Great. So Mapioto has wrapped up the Bentley job and is now running around as Sir Galloth, collecting fruits.
Basically,
Yes.
fruits. Yeah, they're called fire bulbs. You can see them
Fire
written
bulbs.
here.
Ah, yes.
This is actually a rare instance in the game where you can actually complete objectives in an order that you desire to complete them. Like, this is a given if you're playing a job in Sly 2 or Sly 3. They give you the chance to collect the items and complete the objectives, usually in any random order that you want. But in this game, it's usually pretty restricted with the order. So this is a rare instance where you actually can collect all the firebulbs in the order of your choosing. And yeah, this is actually, as I said, very rare instance in this game. The only other instance that quickly pops in my mind are the photos that you can take in the first job of EP3 and EP5 in this game. Mapioto tried to go for an ICSS instant cutscene skip, but he didn't get it. But yeah, so there was an instance where he tried to do the hideout warp type of strat once again, and he's an absolute mad lad for going the costume launch strat.
Oh my god!
There. Wow,
That
strat he found himself just a while ago, which saves about 1.5 seconds. The only viable use for costume launch at the moment in this game.
I mean,
Nailed it.
I think if you find a new strat, you have to use it if it's good.
Pretty much. Yeah.
I think that's the rules.
Yeah. So how the costume launch worked there is that Mapioto changed on the archer costume, but just framed perfectly in a way that got kind of like stuck on that bouncy pole. So when the bouncy pole recoiled back to its normal position and upwards, kinda, it just launched Sly with a great speed to a certain direction, and then he also quickly pressed square airborne, which cut out his height completely from the launch. If he had not pressed the square button there, he would have gone flying up to the stratosphere, over the skybox maybe. Well, not quite, but.
To really use the square to keep himself, or to launch himself in the direction he wants to go, instead of an absolutely useless upward launch.
Yeah, let's see if Phobos is gonna either get the CSS or a first try warp to the destination of his. Oh. Yes, he got the ICSS. So yeah, there's basically a strat there where you can only skip that 10-second long cutscene, but only if you pause the game on the first frame of the cutscene being loaded in. So after that, the cutscene becomes unskippable.
Lovely.
Yes.
We love unskippable cutscenes. It is the foundation of this great series of games.
Yeah, in this game in particular, the instant cutscene skips, ICSSs, are the biggest singular time saves in the entire run. The Paris Prologue ICSS saves about 40 seconds on its own. That's a singular ICSS. And then in the third job of episode 3, Getting Stronger, there's a total of 6 cutscenes chained together. Technically, one of them is not an ICSS in certain scenarios, but overall, skipping those 6 cutscenes saves 73 seconds. So, those are the biggest skips in the game. They're both ICSSs.
Right.
Let's see how Phobos does in the minigame, archery minigame shooting. Mapioto got a 42 here in his attempt just a minute ago. So let's see how Phobos.
Ooh, missed the flying target.
Was that a 38?
38.
Yeah.
Yes, I do believe so. Now we see Mapioto heading into the final boss fight of the episode.
Yeah, and ironically, this is the easiest job in the entire episode.
It is very linear compared to
It's
everything
also
else.
pretty short, pretty straightforward. So it's pretty anticlimactic in that sense. The hardest jobs are probably Shopping Spree and Juggling Act, which are the first two jobs, or maybe Shell Shocked Hard interior platforming as Bentley. So this last job is not gonna pose any sort of challenge to either of our runners here. So I don't think the difference is going to greatly diminish or increase during this final split of episode 4 of Sly 4.
Absolutely not. Now, if I was Professor PS2 or Turk right now, I would definitely start getting ready, setting my 2-3 file up, getting ready to go when needed. Because we are shortly wrapping up this section of the race.
Yeah, definitely. It's this is one of the extreme cases, maybe like Sly 2 episode 6 or Sly 3 episode 6 or this episode right here. If your teammate says that, okay, I'm gonna boot up my stream when the final split starts, then you don't have much time actually to get ready. But on the other hand, if you're playing Sly 4 episode 5 or Sly 3 episode 4, then that's a different case. You're probably gonna wait 10 minutes longer than with this example to get started with your run. So yeah, the final splits in the episodes of Sly 2, 3, and 4, they do vary a lot in terms of length.
Now I'm getting the hang of this.
Definitely. Oh, we have a question about what an ICSS actually is. Now, obviously, CSS stands for cutscene skip, but what differentiates a normal CSS and an ICSS?
Well, they're basically the same, but an ICSS is a cutscene. Like, ICSS means an instant cutscene skip. So, that's basically the skip, that's what it means, but the difference is in the cutscene itself that you're trying to skip. As we see, actually, Mapioto is really close to finishing out this episode. But the cutscene that is skipped, that can be skipped only with utilizing an ICSS, is a cutscene that becomes unskippable after the first frame of the cutscene being loaded in. So when you try to pause the game after that, you don't have the chance to skip it anymore.
Now we see the picture-in-picture ready for Professor PS2. Very quick transition into Professor PS2's run. He is well on his way, and he is now full screen. Great. Let us see how he does.
First set of movement actually looked pretty promising for Professor PS2. He was utilizing Stealth Slide. He got a pretty good square boost off the safe house platform to the ground level.
Nice conservation of juice by spamming the Stealth Slide.
Yeah. So PS2 Professor's personal best time in Sly 2 episode 3 on the boards, if I recall correctly, I can quickly check the stats. It's a 38:29. 38:29. That is not a very convincing time to go up against Turk, who just almost got a mid-32 in the previous match. So hopefully PS2 Professor has been practicing offline a lot here to close out the gap to Turk as best as he can.
This is definitely where... This is definitely where we want him to show us what he's got, to pull out all the stops and log out an incredible run. Now he's been set up with a nice lead from Mapioto, which will definitely help.
Yes, definitely. This difference is quite unexpected, I'd say. I was definitely, and probably no one in the chat either, was expecting Mapiota to take this substantial of a lead over Phobos in Sly 4 episode 4.
Speaking of Phobos, he is about to wrap up EP 4. He has wrapped up, and we do not have a feed of Turk. Are they not ready?
But
Very
anyways,
interesting indeed.
the difference between the runners was just a tad under 2 minutes after Sly 4 episode 4, the first episode in this match. It was about 1:57 if I recall correctly. So 2 minutes lead. That is pretty much what the Buccaneers have to work with Professor right now heading to the second job of episode 3, which is freeing the elephant. It's gonna enter the jump trigger right there.
Now, speaking of leads, we're not quite sure if Turk is off to the races, but it definitely looks like they're building more of a lead now. If that is not the case.
You can expect Turk to already be set up in the background. Yes, the event organizer, Gandhi, is saying in the chat that let this be a lesson. Actually, Turk only starting, not yet starting even. My goodness.
We have footage from Turk, and he has thrown away, I would say, about a minute of runtime, if not more.
This is a big opportunity for the Buccaneers now.
Absolutely, this is a big leg up that they're just being handed.
Based on the timer, the Bombers lost an additional 1 minute and 45 seconds to the Buccaneers in that one instance there. So I'd say this is right now a moment where this match gets really intense, and we absolutely do not know who's gonna win this right now, because this lead might actually maybe if PS2 Professor has practiced enough, we can expect this to be a really tight match all the way to the end right now.
Yes, absolutely. Now, PS2 Professor does have a very substantial lead right now, and I think all he needs to do is just maintain just being ahead in any way, and he will set up Nave very, very nicely to round out in Slide 3, Episode 3.
Yes, exactly. PS2 Professor only really needs to go for the safe strats, make sure that things work out in his favor, and Nave, as we know, has been grinding Sly 3 episode 3 lately. And
absolutely.
He did just achieve a third place, sub 54 minute time in that episode. So he's gonna start from a very good position there, but as we know, Sly 3 episode 3 can be very cruel in terms of the skips present there.
Yep.
Beauty and the Beast cutscene skip, the Giant Wolf Massacre cutscene skip, the
Ghost
Ghost
hacking
strat. Definitely. There's also another cutscene skip at the start of the hacking job, Windmill Fireball.
Yeah.
So we're expecting to see an insane finish to this match, but right now Professor and Turk are going head-to-head in Slide 2 episode 3, where Professor just fell into the water but manages to finish out the job.
Yeah. Luckily not a massive deal. He just got back up and has now rounded out the spice job.
Yeah, heading for the next job, Waterbug Run.
Absolutely.
Now, I remember the times when I started running this game back in the days. I'd
Like
say
in the
that
old
this
times.
is a very tricky job, even though it's super short. It's only like 1 minute and 30 seconds long. One of the shortest jobs in the entire game.
Yep.
But it is a one-hit kill job, one-hit job fail kind of job, and the bog does alert attention. So it is actually, even though it's short, it is quite hectic, I'd say.
It is the you're riding the balance between going fast and also the guards being a lot more aware of where you are and what you're doing.
You can see Turk being quite much more reserved with his stealth slot usage here at the start of this job compared to PS2 Professor.
I've noticed that throughout the episode. That is an interesting approach, I would say. Oh, and he misses the jump.
Yes, Turk
Does he have a
fall
backup
out,
here?
but it's not that bad. There is a decent backup there that you can use.
All right. Professor
Now,
PS2 getting along nicely with the water bug.
actually gets the tricky glitch high jump. That is
That was a
that is
very
very
clean water
impressive.
bug.
Very impressive gameplay from PS2 Professor. He's definitely been practicing here.
Absolutely.
And now just has to be careful to not die, and then gets the job done. Very impressive for PS2 Professor, absolutely, with this gameplay. Keeping the lead steady for the
Yeah.
Buccaneers.
It would definitely seem that he has been practicing. Maybe he had a handful of episodes in mind that his team would pick for him if depending on the preceding bands.
Now, this is an interesting point in the run to see if PS2 Professor is going to go for the leading Rush-on cutscene skip. He's at least gonna go for the fast route on top of the platform where the job trigger is located. He's setting up his camera very safely, but he still bonks on the corner and has to go back. The trick itself saves about 10 seconds, but every time you fail it, it also loses 10 seconds. So with this
Right now,
kind of setup,
he's got a chance to break even now. Not quite.
yeah, unfortunately he misses the second try too. I'd say at this point it would have been a more wiser attempt, wiser strat to just skip the strat entirely. He's gonna lose at least 30 seconds to optimal here.
Ooh,
and
and he gets
guards are
by the
usually
guards.
a big problem. So this is now
Yeah.
a crucial point for the Buccaneers in this match right now. If PS2 Professor is gonna get this strat, he seems committed, and that is just not quite far enough.
That is unfortunate. Now, speaking of time save and this job, this also contains, I would say, one of the most intricate cutscene skips in this game. Now,
The
how
lead of the Buccaneers is shrinking away rapidly right now, and now
wait a second.
PS2 Professor makes the choice of not continuing the attempts with that that strat. Besides,
That is probably a wise choice. That is a very tricky jump if you are not very experienced with it. I know I definitely struggle to pull it off.
yes, and he does not go for the leading Russian cutscene skip either. If Turks gets it successfully, that'll be another 35 seconds of the lead being shrunk away if it indeed gets it successfully.
Not to mention the time save from getting a clean bounce up.
Turk now heading over to the Russian's office in Waterbug Run. Clean movement throughout
Using
the
more
problem.
stealth slide than previous.
Yeah, he had a lot in store for this final section. Could have used more during freeing the elephant and this job earlier. He has quite a lot of juice left still.
Gets
Could have
the
utilized to save more time earlier.
gets the tricky glitch high jump. Also, almost gets a perfectly clean second one.
PS2 Professor seems to know the strat here for the first watermelon at least.
Doesn't quite get the drop down for the grab, but that is not a massive deal.
Yeah, thankfully that's only gonna take about a second. He does do an extra jump there, and he plays it super safe by sleep darting the other guards around the area.
I mean, in a marathon setting, if you're not completely confident, you will want to go for the safe strats. But he definitely knows how to place the darts, how to manipulate Jan to go exactly where he wants them to.
Turk also does not get the jump to the leading Roshan job trigger platform first try, nor second try.
Oh.
Okay. And Turk decides to load the game because he lost too much health to do the leading Roshan cutscene skip, unfortunately.
That's gonna be a very substantial time loss for the Bombers.
Yes. So even though it looked like Buccaneers' time save was shrinking away in this job, then it's actually probably not gonna be the case for the most part now, after that reload of the area for Turk.
Might not be as big of a deal as we had thought. He gets a bounce, and it makes it. Now will he go for the CSS? It looks like he's setting up.
Yeah.
Using the PS menu to buffer.
Very safe setup there. But
Yeah.
I must comment on the PS2 Professor's route that he had on the last watermelon. I must say that was very unorthodox approach for the final route to the watermelon. Unfortunately, Turk also messes up the attempt and decides to not continue attempting the leading Roshan cutscene.
Swallows his pride and watches a little movie with us.
So
Yes.
eventually, the Buccaneers completely survive the the leading Roshan with probably not losing any time at all to Turk here.
Only time loss comes from the amount of jumps, but also not going for the cutscene skip did also save them some time in this case.
So I'd say at the moment it's still a very interesting match because the expectation here is that Turk is going to catch up a bit more to PS2 Professor, but ultimately we don't know how much PS2 Professor has practiced actually, so he might be heading out to a time minutes faster than what his PB on the leaderboards actually is. We're not that sure. And for the final section, Didday versus Knave. Didday is a very good runner in Slide 3 as well, but just based on Knave's recent experience with the earlier episodes of Slide 3 and his recent PB, I'd say that Knave does have the upper advantage over Didday. So if the Buccaneers are going to enter 3-3, still in a lead, I'd say that's going to be a very difficult mount to climb for Didday, but as stated earlier, EP3 of Slide 3 is full of tricky skips, and if you miss those, you can lose a bunch of time. Like if you miss the Beauty and the Beast cutscene skip, even in a good way or a bad way, every way you miss it bad way, you're gonna lose like 50 seconds. If you miss it in a good way, where you still hit the cutscene but you don't get the skip, that's still 50 seconds lost. So if you go for the giant massacre cutscene skip, you can save 10 seconds, then you can lose like 45 if you fail it. And then Ghost Hacks by default will let you allow 55 seconds if you don't get it, and enter the active trigger. And, missing the fireball cutscene skip is probably gonna lose like 20 to 30 seconds if you don't get it. So there's a lot of potential for a lot of time loss if skips don't go successfully. Slide 3 v3. Now both runners are done with day 1 of this episode, heading to day 2.
Turk having a little bit of trouble with at least the second watermelon on leading return, but it went very well with the third one. Not quite getting the instant grab, but otherwise very clean.
It did feel like we were stuck in that job forever, though, leading Roshan.
It did last a bit longer than usual.
Yes. Now, PS2 Professor is taking a very casual looking route to my eyes to the Spice Grinder Destruction job trigger. There's a shortcut you can do over the palace grounds, but PS2 Professor decided to not do that, and probably lost a few seconds by default on that, and I can bet that Turk is going to try to do the more optimal route to the Spice Grinder job trigger after he first completes this bloated dam job.
But I think if you're a PS2 Professor right now, you're just going for not having any resets, not having any deaths, just doing what is within your wheelhouse and getting a relatively clean run.
Yes, and this job in particular, Spice Grinder Destruction, is an infamous job in this game because it does not contain any checkpoints throughout it. Like, we just played...
Yeah.
Oh,
that's unfortunate.
PS2 Professor probably tried to hit the X and square button like a square boost there, but when doing that strat you need to space the inputs out, like first do X and then square, and after the first death he decides to not try that strat again there, which is perfectly fine. Now that's the best place you can take a death in this job, because he actually does go for it the second time around.
So that's what you want to happen. You want your attack to hit the barrel, but while you're still at the peak of your jump, so the blast doesn't actually hit you back, skipping the fuse part of it.
As you viewers probably noticed, we didn't say a whole lot about the bloated dam job because there's not a lot of stuff to talk about. You just press one button,
If you can
hit the job, and that's it.
If you can mash R1, you can be at an optimal level in that mission. Almost optimal. There's some stuff with holding down and reserving heat and so on, but still. We're gonna see Professor PS2 heading into one of the harder sections of the job, where you'll want to have one of these guards be at lower health, while also throwing a knife to destroy this gate. So basically, you want this guard to die so that when you go in your barrel, he will not be in your way while you are leaving.
Let's see if he killed the right guard.
Yes, I couldn't quite keep track of which one was the one. It's gonna work. I think that I don't think he got the right guard, but it did end up working out in the end.
Fortunately, it's not that big of a deal. You can just take the other side now.
Slightly longer road.
So dying here in a bad way does lose like a minute and a half.
Yeah,
because
that is.
There's no checkpoints there.
Now, if you would recall, he did kill only one of the guards at the top to begin with, because that guard only looks out in this area, which you can't really go around. But this last guard will just roam around the outer area, which you can just step around, so you don't need that guy to be gone.
Yes, the Professor did a really safe exiting from the barrel there. He even stopped at his tracks and only after that jumped away, even though he was already in the... Turk with a surprise by an Occupom there. Even though he was well in the spice already at that point.
Right.
And I guess the Professor doing the optimal route to deal a secret drop trigger. Although if we're being technical here, there's like 4 different routes to this drop trigger that basically break even, but let's not get into that. So
now we're gonna see Turk heading into the same section that Professor PS2 was just at. That he might be able to claw some time back with a cleaner guard chase, going for taking out both guards.
Health situation not looking as strong, so we're gonna have to
not
see.
ideal.
Yes, this is looking quite tight right now.
Ooh, this could be bad.
Oh my goodness, he is. Does he have smoke bomb?
He might want a smoke bomb here if he has it.
Yes, he does. He's gonna use it.
I guess he does have it.
Let's see if the guards are gonna hear that though.
Yeah, and come to investigate.
Doesn't look like it.
Or maybe they did hear it and now they're running around. Yeah.
That's actually a brilliant strat. 200 IQ there.
God, he's so smart.
Yeah. I mean, that's honestly the only realistic strat that was gonna take it out of the situation alive with there.
Yeah, to even have the guards be just a little bit predictable.
Yes, that looked like a really, really tough situation, but
Yeah.
looks like he's gonna manage it just fine.
Yeah. The only thing that can go wrong now is the actual grinder itself messing up the barrel, which has been known to happen. But if you know what you're doing, you should be fine.
Whoa!
That was very close.
Really slow.
Yeah.
Holy. Wow, that's true bravery or something else entirely. Right there.
When you're just that good, you can just do it.
I guess so. That looked so scary. That looked so scary. Honestly, I'm not even exaggerating.
There is no fear in this man.
Okay, now both the runners are now in the Nila Seekers, but now there's Nila Chase, the Nada Scroller, and we're not doing a full game run, so there's no use to even farm points there, pretty much. So there are some minor tricks you can do, like with the ropes and stuff, but nothing that crazy or interesting, honestly, there. Oof.
Much room for the fans.
Yeah, if Professor fell to the water, we could have seen a job fail there, or at least Nila stopping.
Yeah.
It looked pretty bad when he started
It did
to slide off the
It did look a little sketchy. You could
slide
be
off the roof of the building, which I don't actually still remember what is the name of that structure. By the way, at this point, shoutouts to Beaver GG probably in the chat. When he and Gandhi were making the slide to any percent tutorial, I remember Beaver saying that he had to check out like from Google that what those structures are, what's the technical name of the structures.
Yep.
But unfortunately, I have forgotten that information as well, so I cannot tell you.
No way, me too. And I have watched them.
Yes. But maybe he can correct in the chat if he's still there. But here's the Professor pulling out a very safe and secure smoke bomb strat for the first key. Wise choice, I'd say, at this stage.
It's probably gonna go for a glitch high jump here to get behind this guard. Yep. Clean.
Successful. Clean. Sonic in the chat asking which structure. You know, the structure on top of the Indian architecture.
The one where there's a mushroom on either side, and there's some water running under it with some lily pads.
You know, the pointy structures.
The one you know.
Pointy roofs. Look like an onion with a tip.
Maybe that's where they store all the onions.
Yeah, they use for the onions. They use for the spice.
Exactly.
Yes. The domes. Are there really domes?
Surely that's a more formal name for it. Like this onion
Doesn't
thing here.
sound right though. Professor going for the slope jump here. It's not
Having a little bit of trouble. Oh, getting the spin in to keep him up.
Good job,
Nice.
good job.
라잔의 저 거대한 루비를 훔쳐달라는 의뢰를 받았어.
Now, that is the only place in the slide for any percent run where a slope jump like that is technically, it saves so much time that it is basically required in speedrun setting. It saves about 15 seconds if I recall correctly, because the casual route without the slope jump is slow. You gotta if you actually wanna skip out doing the slope jump when you're running or playing this game or learning the speedrun, and you're gonna see some really slow routing and gameplay with anything's a question.
Yeah.
Now, Murray heading out to the Ruby. There's a cutscene skip here, found by none other than Mr. Hula Tunt. So this is a Hula strat right here. Let's see if PS2 Professor can get it.
So basically, what he goes for here is belly flopping onto the crystal while the cutscene is playing, causing the job to fail, and thus skipping the cutscene, which he does get.
Good
See
job.
him not having to toss the sly on the Banaki-com and just being able to walk right out.
Now, this skip was found in September of 2017.
Holy moly. We see PS2 Professor respecting the Bentley. If you walk in front of Bentley here, he can push you so much that you actually drop the gym and have to start over. We respect the Bentley.
I'm also
Having
gonna
some-
quickly check from the stats here that how many times has this episode already been selected in the tournament already? It's selected twice now by the Bombers, and it's also selected once by Peacocks, and once by Jackalopes. So, very popular episode in this tournament, I'd say.
We do love 2-3.
Yeah, it's the thing with certain episodes. Yeah, Beaver found it. Patrices. That's my best guess for the pronunciation, honestly.
This is language lessons with Remo.
Shatris. Might have
Shatris.
butchered. It might have butchered. Tetris? Yeah.
Yes.
Ooh, unfortunately,
Oh, Turk missing the cutscene skip. Unfortunate.
that's gonna do probably widen the gap by, if I recall it correctly, about 16 seconds, something like that.
As Professor PS2 gets the ruby delivered, wrapping up the episode, or not the run, the job.
The difference is still quite substantial in the favor of the Buccaneers. So,
Yeah,
this
PS2
is
Professor
at the
doing
moment,
very well
yeah,
in maintaining the lead. Respecting the
PS2
Bentley, of course.
Professor- PS2 Professor managing quite well against Turk here in this second episode of the match. I'd say that this is a very, very promising position for the Buccaneers to be in right now in the match.
Absolutely.
Yeah, about the balance for the episode selections, we've seen episodes like 2-3 and 4-2 get picked quite many times in this tournament already, and it's probably just natural based on the fact that certain teams are strong in certain games, and then other teams are not that strong in certain games. So usually the easiest and shortest episodes, and also the hardest episodes, are often gonna get banned. So that usually leaves only a certain set of episodes available for peaking. And many times, episodes like 2-3 and 4-2, they strike a nice balance between the skill level of the runners in question picking the episodes and the comfortability, how comfortable they are running the certain episodes.
Yeah, we see Professor PS2 heading into the shooting segment for the operation.
Yeah.
Having a little bit of trouble hitting some of these barrels falling down. But as long as he keeps them from hitting the ground, he should be absolutely chilling.
Yes, this is a very underestimated part of this operation. Well, not among the very top runners of this game, but usually among
Viewers.
tier runners and new runners, because this is actually the section in this job where you can lose or gain probably the most amount of time easily, aside from the Rashawn fight, obviously, as well. But
Yeah.
you can pretty much easily lose about the same amount of time that you lose from a bad Rashawn fight if you have a bad shooting section here. It's actually quite noticeable how much time you can lose there if you're not shooting those that
Turk
quick.
getting a nice jump to the cutscene trigger. To the mission trigger.
Definitely.
As Professor PS2 gets ready to deliver. I think that's now. Yep, that is now that he has to deliver the almighty Cherry Bomb 500
Yes.
to blow up Rajan's front door.
Now, about the runner's performance, PS2 Professor performing, as mentioned before, quite well based on the expectations from his speedrun.com profile time listed for this episode, which was about 38 minutes. He's a bit lost right now, and he
Oh yeah.
he stopped GSMing. It seems like he's not comfortable with GSMing this route. Hopefully he did not spawn a flashlight guard in front of him yet.
That would be quite a problem.
Yes, and hopefully he doesn't fall into the water here either.
He sees the blinks, he knows where to go now. And no guards inside, I believe we are home safe.
Yes. But for Turk, his PB listed in speedrun.com 32:32. Based on the performance, I don't think he's PB pace right now. And thinking about the previous match, where he also played 2-3, I would have personally thought that this would have been a better position for him to also run. So, just based on the last match, I don't think that Turk is going to get a Roshan choke this time. I don't think it's gonna happen this time. I think he has gotten better with it at a point that at this point in the match where he's running as the second instead of the last one, that he's gonna nail the Roshan fight this time.
Speaking of Roshan, we now see him leaving his mansion, standing on top of the Tetris to get ready for a platforming section where you need to dodge his lightning bolts and spire jump all the way up to him. But if you are a bit of a gamer, you don't have to do all of it. You can skip quite a bit of the jumps. We'll see how PS2 Professor manages in this section.
Yeah. The slope jump strat here originally has been called the MSA jump because of its founder, MSA, years ago. But the MSA jump doesn't actually save that much time, so it's not a big deal if you actually don't go for it.
Professor PS2 not going for it, it would seem. And we have the PIP ready for Knave and D-Day as well.
Alright.
While we can listen to the iconic ACES theme music.
Quite casual execution. Casual strat-looking execution for PS2 Professor, but he's got to do what he's got to do at this point in the run. It's so
Once
late
again,
in the
it
run,
works.
he doesn't want to take unnecessary risks at this point.
Right. As we are heading into the final part of the final job of Slide 2, Episode 3, all PS2 Professor needs to do is have a clean Roshan fight, or at least just a deathless one, and he is setting up Knave very, very well.
Yes, indeed. Now, I'm gonna check the timer and see what kind of time PS2 Professor is going to get in this Roshan fight. Now, optimally, very top runners in this game, at their best, can beat Roshan in only 45 seconds, even without power-ups, like Fist of Flame here. So, from back in the days before the bouncy Roshan strats were found, it looks like PS2 Professor is not doing any bouncy Roshan strats either.
Not quite.
Before that, it was about 1 minute and 2 seconds, if I recall correctly, was like an optimal Roshan fight time. So let's see.
We see Professor taking a couple hits. He does probably want to look for a health sooner rather than later.
He's looking quite safe right now for this.
Yeah.
He is hold on without the Roshan choke. He did get a health in there though.
So I do believe he is in good shape to close out this fight.
Another hit. This is very close. Just gonna
can
hang
take-
on.
He can take one more. He can take one more hit.
Goodness,
Another hit will take him down.
Clutch right now.
This is.
Is he gonna survive or not? He's so close.
A couple more hits.
Yeah. 3
And he
dots
gets it.
without complete.
Nicely done.
Holy.
GG's to PS2 Professor as Nave gets into Slide 3, Episode 3. Turk following closely behind, finishing up the Roshan fight.
Almost about 1 minute and 50 seconds of fighting for PS2 Professor there. And Turk closing on to a minute about now.
Yep.
Fight. So it looks like Turk did gain a lot of time. Now, as
Indeed, despite
my
the
prediction,
difficulties.
yeah, my prediction actually was on the nails there. Turk with a really solid Roshan boss fight there. Only about a minute and 10 in length, probably gain about 40 seconds almost on PS2 Professor in that fight alone.
Now we see both people heading into this cabin in Holland, actually attending the ACES competition. Now we are going to have a conversation with an old friend of ours to get some perhaps not entirely fair advantages. But see how it goes.
Dimitri is right there. Nave is in the lead now. Start of episode 3 of Slide 3. We'll see how much the difference is here after the first 2 games, but I gotta say still, that ending was quite clutch for PS2 Professor, but on Turk's end, he got a nice redemption arc there after the previous match with a really strong Roshan fight at the end. It wasn't even close to a Roshan choke there. Very solid execution all the way, all the way through. I'd say the difference is about 40 seconds. 38 seconds is the official approximation at the moment for the difference. 38 seconds, that is quite tight. So, based on just the fact that if Nave and Dieter both are gonna play as expected, where Nave would have the slight advantage, then we would be looking for a win for the Buccaneers, but the difference is still quite marginal. So I'd say that if Nave just misses a skip here or there, then that might as well earn the match for the favor of the Bombers.
Absolutely. There's a lot of time to be gained and lost in this episode, so it is definitely still anybody's race.
Yes, definitely, especially in the later portions of the episodes. The early part of the Slide 3, Episode 3, is quite static in terms of the gameplay and the hefty amount of cutscenes and auto-scroller sections of different jobs. But already starting probably from the truck section in Frame Team Belgium, we can start to see some differences between the runners in execution and job split times and so on. But the first job in this game, in its episode of this game, this is actually the most cutscene heavy job in the entire game and probably the entire Sly series, in fact.
Can you believe it?
Yes, about 85% of the job is cutscenes. 85%.
This is truly a Slide 3 moment.
Yes. Definitely. The chat is spamming CHD. What about this job?
They're all very excited for peak gameplay. We might even see it at the same time. Can you imagine the CHD overload? Now, already here, when we leave this conversation, we can see a little bit of optimization. Now, as we all know, say it with me, Sly is 4% faster when jumping while disguised. But also when we leave here, we have whatchamacallit? We have a trip up to the castle to let Bentley in, where there's a lot of time to be saved from rocket boots, push boosting, bunch of movement that can really put runners apart from each other. See Nave going for purely rocket boots, not really boosting.
Yes, if you were to implement push boosts to this section as well, Nave does hold the community gold in Hidden Flight roster right now. There's pretty clean movement up to the castle.
It was.
But
We saw him
if you
do
were to implement the push boost as well,
Nei,
I
sorry.
could see
Bare banditten
the
i baronen.
community
Bruk
gold
bryteren som
time
senker
still
bro.
dropping
Så jeg kan komme
by
meg
at
opp.
least a few
Beklager, Bentley.
seconds,
Ingen
probably
bryter her.
5, I
Men
guess, at
Det må være
least.
en bryter.
See Dida
Jeg kan
doing
ikke
some
komme meg inn i
GSMing,
hangaren herfra. Vent litt, jeg har en idé.
which
Yes. Now you can see,
Den faller.
just based on the rocket boot stride, that
Primitivt,
Nave
men
has the
effektivt.
advantage in
Ikke noe
terms
probb.
of
Se deg senere.
how comfortable he is running this episode. He had very direct lines for the rocket, using the rocket boots. It looked really smooth all the way throughout, whereas they had a bit of a, more aiming to get the line that he wanted, and it definitely shows that Nave is here the more comfortable runner for this specific episode right now, just based on looking how they play the game. But as stated, the skips are yet to come, and there's not quite a lot of gameplay in this split already in particular.
now we see Nave checking the various saves, looking for the flight roster, and that will be the end of Hidden Flight roster. As we now see a reset, as multiple times during every Slide 3 episode, Bentley will pull the crew together, bring out some popcorn, whatever they need, and have a little slideshow. Now we can actually skip this by exiting game at any time until until after the save icon has appeared on screen. Which, when we then relaunch the game, we will simply be past this long, otherwise unskippable cutscene.
Yes, Slide 3 unfortunately does have the longest start times for rebooting a game. It's due to the extra screen for the Sucker Punch logo, which is a lot lengthier than in the other games, like when you compare it to Slide 2, an example.
Yeah.
But still, if you are running with an SSD in your console, it is still faster to skip all the shows in the entire game.
Indeed. And the same goes for Slide 2, I believe.
Yes, Slide 2 as well. It's quite funny though, since even though Slide 2 resets a lot faster, then also there are some instances where a chalk talk or an animated cutscene is a much shorter than anything you can see in Slide 3. So
Yes, indeed.
yes, but it is still faster, in fact. Even though the developers did cut the Slide 2 Episode 1 outro cutscene a bit for the remastered release when they had to censor out the
Oh, yes.
non-E-rated content from there.
If you are below the age of 18, close your eyes. So basically, Bentley was explaining that he was gonna be gambling and using his new card counting formula, which we cannot have in front of the youngins. They cannot know that gambling exists.
It is quite ironic that Sly 2 did get an E rating, but then Sly 3 got, what was it? In the United States, was it like E 12 plus or something like that? So technically a higher rating.
Yeah, fuck if I know. My copy still says ages 3 and up for Slide 3.
Yeah, that's the PAL ratings, but
Mm-hmm.
basically that's only because in the United States they changed the rating system a bit between the releases of Sly 2 and 3. I think Sly 3 might actually be one of the first, or if not the first game that was released with a E12 plus rating or whatever it was exactly. I'd say if the rating was already installed when Sly 2 was published, I'd guess that game would have also... Yeah, E10. I guess that
E10.
game would have also gotten the same rating.
Most likely.
Yes. Now in this rowing section, you gotta just mash X
Yep.
really hard.
Slide 2 and 3 love their meshing games.
Yeah, the boat is not moving that quickly. Nave is
Not really.
actually trying out a bit of rocket boots paraglider tech there, actually.
Yep.
If I saw that instance correctly there.
Now, it will be interesting to see his strategy for this part, as you're trying to steal a prized possession of this team without waking any of them up. Now, what you can do is constantly not update your grounded position, which it looks like he's doing, by constantly attacking right before you hit the ground and then jumping, so you won't update your grounded position. What you can then do is get stuck behind the television, where we'll then try and send you back to the last place you stood, which it hasn't updated, so you'll just be right back at the event, saving you the whole trip back. That was very nicely executed.
Yeah, it saves, if I recall correctly, about 9 seconds first try, so you can try it multiple times, and if you still get it, you're still gonna save time with it.
Yep.
Now, Didde is not opting to go for the super jump strat, so that means more time gained over the Bombers for the Buccaneers at this point in the game. Crucial time save.
What he's doing instead is mashing the sprint button, so Sly will go a bit faster, but not quite reaching running speed, which would be loud and alert the sleeping folks. So a little bit of time save, but still not ideal.
Yes, in this part of the episode, for the first 3 jobs, just based on pure skill, practice time, and recency bias for running this episode, probably a lot more than Didde. We're gonna see Nave pulling ahead by a few seconds here and there.
And with Nave already being set up with a good lead, Didde has quite the task ahead of him if he wants to catch up.
But the lead is not substantial enough that Nave
Not
could
quite.
just skip out from doing Beauty and the Beast cutscene skip, though, which is a crucial, the biggest skip in this episode, in fact, along with Ghost Hacks, actually.
Yeah.
So Nave can maybe opt out going for the Giant Wolf Massacre cutscene skip, and I think Nave is actually going to opt out at this point in the run and in the match. He's probably gonna opt out from Giant Wolf Massacre cutscene skip. That is my prediction at this point, but the gap is still small enough that he basically has to go for the other skips if Didde is going for all of the skips as well.
Kan du plante hjelmen på det belgiske
You heard him, chat. Will Nave go for Wolf Massacre CSS? Place your bets right now.
Yes.
Now we see Didde wrapping up the boat section while we see Didde wrapping up the boat section while Nave is heading towards the Team Belgium hangar to plant the Team Iceland helmet to frame them for damaging their plane.
An interesting thing about this match, a fact that just popped into my head. Actually, I think the Buccaneers have been ahead of the Bombers for the entire match, starting from all the way from the first job of episode 4 of Slide 4, when Mapio successfully got the tavern skip quicker than Phobo.
Yeah, I believe you are correct.
Yes, so we haven't seen a single lead change in this match yet.
But as we know, the match is far from over. There is still a very long episode ahead of us.
Yes, indeed. Now, Knave having a bit of issues with the laser section, but that counted for a 2-second time loss with the cycles there. So, they does have a chance to slightly close out the gap to Knave here.
Mm-hmm. Now that we have framed Team Iceland, it is time, ladies and gentlemen, for everyone's absolute favorite mission in the entire Sly quadrilogy of games. Cooper Hangar Defense.
Listen, the legal statement is that he is not exaggerating a slight bit.
Not even the slightest hint of anything. I am absolutely sincere.
Murray! Jeg har jobbet med å
There's
sette opp
actually
sikkerhetssystemene i hangaren.
a strat
Snart
that
ferdig.
might actually be discovered by Knave357 himself. We can confirm this though, but I think the strat of standing on top of the trigger or the lever that strikes into mark shot here is by his design. I'd say I personally haven't seen this strat utilized anywhere else before, but I think that's a genius strat.
Absolutely. Let us see if this genius tech gets implemented, and then we can talk about it a little bit.
So basically, this is mostly an auto-scroller section, but you still have to press the button as quickly as you can every time the button reloads. Now Knave went and jumped on the platform, which is going to quickly hit some guards sometimes, but he's basically ready to always hit the button. Smashing circle, he's gonna hit it instantly when it reloads. It takes 15 seconds for the button to reload, but doesn't have to worry about guards cocking him over basically from that position. He's gonna take damage from rocks. That's like nothing, he doesn't care.
Since the guys regard him as being on a different plane than them, they will not go for attacks. They'll just do these small little rock throws to at least do anything. But basically, he can just chill up here until the job is done. Just mash circle to hit the button the second it's ready.
Now,
See, did they doing the same thing?
did they actually doing the same thing for sure?
Yeah.
Now, this job has gotten, now if we're being serious here, this job has gotten a lot of slack over the years of being long and boring and full of auto-scroller sections, which is mostly true, but I do still stand by my statement that the chopper section does still require plenty of pure skill to do optimally and faster. And the difference, the difference to subpar execution of the chopper sections, the RC section of this job, like it's not that big, unfortunately. Still, even I'd say like if you play the section horribly versus if you play it really well, the difference might be about 10 seconds, maybe a bit more than 10 seconds, 10 to 15 seconds probably, but that is still a time margin noticeable, especially in episode run setting, such as this one right here. Although
Definitely.
it is a part of the 3-episode match, but still, it does require quite hefty amount of skill and practice to achieve that full 10-second time save in the chopper section over beginner runners still. So there's that. That's my official statement on Cooper Hangar Defense required skill level to play optimally.
You heard it here first. Cooper Hangar Defense, the best mission in the game. now we see both people being, both runners being in the main section, the longest section of CHD. I'm not sure if it actually is, but that's what it feels like. Basically playing Five Nights at Freddy's, looking for the evildoers on their respective monitors, pressing the funny button to make the problem go away.
You just compare Overhanger Defense to Five Nights at Freddy's.
Am I wrong?
Well, for this section, you're not.
Thought so.
This first section, the guard spawns are always the same. It's just 40 seconds of you knowing what to do.
Yep.
Now this next section does take over 2 minutes, and you still gotta be careful with killing those guards, otherwise they're gonna pass through, and they're gonna throw some rocks, which is represented as, I guess, explosives in this game. They're literally just throwing rocks at the airplane, and it's taking huge damage from the rocks. They're tossing rocks. The guards are tossing rocks to the plane, and it's just gonna crumble down.
Yeah. Who would win, handcrafted airplane or pebble?
Yes. Now there is a Master Thief challenge of this job, like there is for every section of Cooper Hanger Defense.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Which means that if you are one of the lucky people who run 100%, you will not do CHD only once. You will in fact do it more than once.
Now to have some content in the commentary in CHD, I'm gonna pull out a random fact out of my pocket for this section and talk about the fact that, do you know how actually the quick boosting for the RC chopper was found in this game? You probably don't, but so I can tell the story. So you know the strat where you mash X and R1 with the RC chopper, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But basically, how we discovered the strat was that it happened in Gnist's YouTube channel.
Gnist?
Probably. Yeah, Gnist's probably still in the chat, hopefully. So, basically, Gnist got like a full game PB or like an episode 3 PB in this game, and he posted it in his YouTube channel and published it, and then just some random guy comes in the comment section and just types out like 5 different exploits that you can utilize in this game to save time.
Oh.
And that was one of them. Oh, we didn't know this. Now you can see Nave doing the strat. So he's basically mashing X and R1 because when the hook reaches the ground, it basically resets the cooldown of the thruster.
Got to. We can see him abusing it here by hooking the tip top of this window to just boost over and over, ignoring the cooldown.
And back in 2017, we did not know that. Except one guy.
Except one random commenter.
Probably, imagine that random guy probably knew it for over a decade.
Yeah. And now he's probably studying advanced physics.
Yes. This is not even the worst example. The worst example of this is probably Penelope running in the Luffy boss fight in episode 5 of this game.
Right?
Imagine you can hold R1 button in the boss fight, and Penelope will actually run.
What?
Yes.
What?
And it took until 2020 I figured that out in the speedrun. And of course it was Hex sound. But he was not impressed. Let's just say that Hexu, a main Slide 2 runner, mostly has done glitch and strat running for Slide 2, comes into Slide 3, instantly found push boosting, Gauntlet super jump strat, bunch of cutscene skips, new cutscene skips that saved like 8 minutes probably game. The Death Radar Constitutes, and the Penelope running. And the Penelope running was the only situation where he actually rolled his eyes to us. Basically, from all the strats that he found. Like, okay, I found all this, that's fine. But you actually did not find this.
This was just a mechanic.
Yes.
Yep.
20, like what, 15 years, and no
Yeah,
one
that's
had
tough.
pressed R1 of the boss fight.
Bra jobba, Penelope! Du jo skikkelig
Pretty
What a
nice
legend.
job perfection for Nave there. He's done with Cooper hanging fence.
Absolutely. Little tidbit for those who don't know: the only enemies that actually matter in this section are the tanks. So as soon as one appears, drop everything you're doing and go get them.
Yes. Now, Nave loads the game to put himself in the hideout quickly, and he's heading to the next job, which is Frame Team Belgium. Let's see.
Indeed, it
Rocket
is.
boosting boots.
Yep.
Here, let's see this. And some small scuff boosting as well. So in this game, if you quickly press square after X, you can preserve your running speed into a jump, but it will quickly start to decrease from the running speed after the jump. So yeah, it's called a scuff boost. It's not as effective as a square boost in Slide 2, but at least it's something. With a square boost in Slide 2, you can preserve the full running or stealth slide momentum that you had at any given point fully for 0.5 seconds, which is the length of the airborne cane swipe animation. And only after that animation is over, the speed will start dropping, unless you chain more square inputs as quickly as you can to it, then the speed will decrease much slower. But with the scuff boost in Slide 3, that's basically what you have to work with, and the speed will instantly start to decrease from running speed back to jumping speed at the start of the scuff boost.
Yes, indeed. And now we're heading into Frame Team Belgium, where we're reaching an essential part of the run. You need to go up to this notoriously stone-faced Belgian flyer and basically get him to laugh, so our good old friend Bentley can take one of his signature Team Belgium handkerchiefs
Yes,
for various purposes.
and you have to fail 2 times with the joke before you can have the ability to select the correct joke becomes available basically to you. And there's actually some language routing in place there, so you of course gonna select the shortest jokes to make it optimal. But in different languages, it's actually different jokes which are faster to pick here. So it's for the fastest 3 languages in this episode, which are Norwegian, Dutch, and Swedish. The selection of the jokes are different than with all the other slower languages.
Absolutely, and we saw Nave go for. Normally, what happens here is the guy starts laughing, and then you have the chance to pickpocket him once. But if you are very precise in your timing, you can get 2 pickpockets in per laugh, which of course saves time.
Yeah, so it's basically big visuals there in place, because even though the pocket is not glowing blue anymore, you can still get a successful pickpocket without failing the job there for a small period of time.
See Dita getting the double pickpocket as well. Very nice. As Nave heads into the truck section, where you need to play as the guru and hijack 4 different guards and kindly borrow their foreheads to demolish the back of this truck, so that our good friend Sly can can jump in and basically play some damning evidence against Team Belgium in I believe Team Iceland's storage unit.
So as you can see, you can hit the van with the sweet spots in front of it from the roof, basically. It's also one of those strats found more recently, probably around 2019, if I'd have to guess. So yeah, pretty clean execution. The truck there's a bit of RNG involved, as we believe it is RNG. It's probably not. There's probably some other determinants for it, but practically we can determine that it's RNG, which turns the truck is going to take at some point, and also the guard spawns realistically are a bit random as well, that what you're going to get. So this is the first RNG section of episode 3 in that case. So now Nave is going to get a really unfortunate truck position for this section. Let's hope that the truck will actually turn away from the town, and it does. So that would have been really unfortunate if it did another loop around the town area, but it didn't. So from this position with rocket boots, Nave should actually reach the ACES semifinals drop trigger without losing any time.
Oh yeah.
I mean, a full game run, that would have been a really bad location to be dropped at. Because without rocket boots, you would not have been able to make it to the trigger without losing time.
Yeah. Did having to spend some time catching up to the truck, but he does get in.
This might have been said earlier in the tournament at some point, but there's a hard lock possibility for the opening the vaults. But the safes in this game, in the Police HQ, Dark Caves, in this job. So basically, if you keep turning the lever there, after it has already opened technically, and the green light has started to glow on the safe, the game will hard lock. You can prevent that by just stopping, stop doing any inputs after you see the green light. That's it.
Very complicated tech indeed. Now we're seeing Nave performing in the ACES semifinals, which not to be confused with the Sly Goals ones. These are the Swiss rounds.
Sucker Punch totally ripped off this tournament format. Game for children.
How fucking dare they steal our tournament 19 years in advance?
This is actually one of the shortest jobs in the game, if not almost the shortest, aside from Unreal to the Rescue, which is also a very short job.
And not a lot of cutscenes, just one objective.
Yeah. Really quick overall.
Yep.
Probably might be the shortest job in the game.
Could be.
Yes.
They're having a little bit of trouble finding the last pilot, but he is just about wrapping up the ACES semifinals.
This is a nice one. It's again one of those nice sections where we can clearly see the concrete difference between the runners.
That's an 11 plane lead.
Yes. Oh, damage boost for the last one.
Out of ammo, so he uses his forehead instead. Very, very nice.
Use your head.
Exactly.
Good advice.
Advice for life.
Yeah.
Now with ACES semifinals being wrapped up, we're gonna restart to skip another Bentley Chalk Talk and head into, I presume, Beauty and the Beast for the first of the trilogy of Bentley missions we have coming up.
Yeah, they're still hanging on tight on Nave's track here.
Yeah, he is not giving him an easy time.
Yes, and basically, we can say in a corny fashion that the run actually starts from the Beauty and the Beast cutscene skip attempt.
Absolutely.
It's a crucial point in the run, as Did They is still less than a minute away from Nave. The difference was about 38 seconds at the start of this episode in the match. So the gap has widened by about 20 seconds, which is to be expected, just based on the pure skill difference between the runners in question, Nave being the stronger runner, preliminarily the stronger runner of these two in this head-to-head matchup. But, as said, run technically grinded Slide 3 Episode 3 ever in the past. Run pretty much, like, it's nice if you get a good run past ACES.
For sure.
But the run still kind of like starts from Beauty and the Beast cutscenes. Like, you just have to get it if you want to still have a chance to PB, or otherwise, if you're aiming for a PB, usually at a top level, the run is instantly dead after that point.
Yeah, shout out to me losing Sabao to Ghost X. It is how it is.
The Beauty and the Beast cutscene skip was found in 2020, as stated by Hexu. The Ghost Hacks was found 3 years earlier in 2017 by me, here, and probably because it's been around for 3 years longer, and by design it is an easier setup for the trick. It has been more consistent with runners. After they have started out running this game, then it's usually a lot more consistent for runners to get Ghost Hacks first try successfully compared to getting Beauty and the Beast cutscene skip first try successfully.
See Nave doing a little butt slide on the rail to save a little bit of time with the very engaging Bentley movement.
Yes, and it's still faster to jump as Bentley as well, but the difference is only 1% faster instead
A
of
whole
4%
percent.
compared to slice jumping. But at least he can do the butt slide there, or chair slide, I guess.
A slide. So what we're seeing here is we have this guy named Mugshot. He's a big bad, and we do not want to fight him in the ACES finals. So we are gonna try and have him disqualified, and we're gonna do that by insulting him to the point that he wants to beat up a little guy in a wheelchair, and have him set up against someone who we know can definitely put him away for good.
Now, there is once again 2 insults you have to select before you're able to select the correct one. That really ticks Mugshot off. But here the language route is the same for all languages. You always select the same 2.
Yes, indeed.
Now, Nave in a crucial point in the run right now. Let's see how he fares in this moment. Now, this is a moment you've all been waiting for in the match. I'd say we're gonna
one of the most important skips.
Yes, I'd say we're gonna head to resolving this match. This is one of the first instances where this match basically can be resolved. There's gonna be a few more ahead, but this is definitely the first big one.
A funny little detail to note is throughout this whole job, Nave has not been using rocket boots, and that is because using rocket boots actually changes your physics for Sly for the whole duration of that load.
It's gonna happen.
Which
he does get it successfully.
Nice. So basically, if he had used rocket boots at any point, he would have had to use a different, tougher setup to get this to work. So we opt to go for no rocket boots to secure it. And it looks like Dida is going for the same threat.
If they absolutely need to hit this cutscene skill.
Yeah, this will be an absolute necessity.
I'd say if he misses this even once, then Nave has the chance to even not do ghost hacks at that point, the difference is going to get a lot bigger at that point. So it's
Definitely
a crucial point for his team here as well.
Yeah.
He's doing a bit of a different setup with the camera angle, so the setups are different between the runners. So let's see.
We can't go for the kick. Oh,
Oh,
that's
not
unfortunate.
gonna work out there. So
That's very unfortunate.
the difference between the teams has probably doubled at this
Men du
point.
planlegger å følge etter den greia, bedøve den, og så bruke guru og beistet for å ta knekken på vaktene?
En meget enkel
Did they perhaps a little tilted
Ved å kanalisere
from,
de ødeleggende kreftene
from
til
missing
den
the
blodtørstige
trick.
skapningen, skulle vi kunne desimere gjengen til baronen. Noe som betyr færre fiendtlige piloter i finalen.
It's gonna get the same guard spawns. I'd say that these kind of guard spawns don't really matter.
Nei da.
He was
Jeg
probably
har
just aiming
modifisert
to get a health
bedøvelsespillene
through there,
med store
maybe
doser stinkdyrbalsam. Noe som skulle være
have a more
tilstrekkelig til å få
consistent setup
beistet i
for the
kne.
cutscene skip.
Hvis ikke han får ferten av
He
meg,
has
da.
taken damage once now. He already
Yeah,
has
that's-
noob mode.
It's gonna be interesting how to set this up with the damage. Oh, noob mode's gonna make it work.
Yes.
So
They absolutely needs to hit this right now so I can
Yeah.
try to keep any chances for his team alive. And he does get it. He does get it second try.
nice.
Etter
That's
at jeg
nice.
har bedøvet ulven,
But the difference
opp til deg.
has amounted to about 2 minutes probably,
Takk,
I'd
Guru.
guess, at
Du
this
kan få
point.
sagt det.
Which is quite a hefty lead for the Buccaneers at this point in the game. Now, did they need a lot of help? A lot of help from Knave right now.
Yeah.
Close out this gap. And,
Speaking of Knave, it looks like he's going for the Wolf CSS, as he took a hit there to put himself in range to die from one of his own bombs before the final hit gets dealt to the Wolf, which will save, I believe, around 10 seconds if he hits it.
At this point, after they failed the cutscene skip attempt once, Knave definitely can afford to go for this cutscene skip right now.
Definitely. Now,
He did not go for it though. Took it safe.
that is probably for the best.
Guru, nå er det din tur. Du skulle kunne kontrollere kjempeulven nå som han sover.
He's not taking any chances. He's gonna bring it home for his team. Right here.
Pløy ned skurkene!
We're past the need for pointless swag.
Now, there is a possibility that Knave would miss the ghost hacks first try, which would once again make they catch up by about a minute. But since the difference is probably about 2 minutes at that point, even that is likely not going to be enough. So at this point in the game, the Bombers are really hoping for Knave to maybe get a sound block or something.
Sånn, ja, det var 10 færre piloter i finalen.
Be really bad, but
It sure would.
at least it would definitely turn the match in favor of the Bombers once again.
They're getting some really favorable gas bombs, also aided by his very nice cameraman hips. He got very close to hitting the water there, which would have been
Yes.
a mission fail and have completely reset his kill count for the mission. Ooh, that is a
Really
tricky
close
position
water.
for that guard.
He decides to not go for it.
Oh, but he does go for it,
That's
and he
really
hits
bold
it.
gameplay, I'd say.
That
from
is-
Knave there.
Nå har vi
Ne-
enda
dude,
bedre sjanser.
my comment about the strike strats, never mind. They are still in full effect. All the style is
they-
being pulled out.
I think Dita needs to go for this cutscene skip. He just has to. There's no
Absolutely.
chance
Yeah.
to not go for it.
So we have 2 more big skips coming up in for this episode. We have this cutscene skip right here, which Knave gets.
Is he gonna get fucked by a flashlight guard here? This is looking really intense. Oh my
Gjør deg
goodness.
klar, datamaskin. Jeg
Looks like he's not gonna go for the
nådeløs.
Go on.
cutscene skip. Oh no!
He gets no the small guard
Det var bra jeg har lagt hacken
messed him
på
up.
høyre analoge spak.
Oh,
He needs to get away!
This could be really, really bad.
Den runde låsekoden.
Knave in the ghost hacks. He could try the cutscene skip,
Endelig litt
but
utfordring.
he misses.
Oh.
He misses. He's really close and
he takes
the
him.
wolf gets him.
Disaster.
Get them.
Disaster.
Another 40 seconds at least.
Now let's see if Nave gets the ghost tag off.
Ooh, he's really close. Nave is
Knock it off.
absolutely
He gets it
gets it.
clean.
Ja, cha-cha.
Yeah, did they really feeling the pressure at this point?
After the ghost hacks, successful first try ghost hacks, I'd say
Yeah.
Nave is now leasing this
Kom
match
igen din
for his
spjäring.
teammates
Knäl
and
för
Buccaneers.
mästaren.
There is so little that can go wrong here. This is basically in the back. This is me jinxing it, by the way. I am.
Yes. We're totally jinxing in the chat. Like at the moment, it's gonna be the, I'd say, the aerial fight area that needs to sound loud. That needs to sound loud
For the flight of fancy job.
So as you can see, Nave is flying past these hacks by just basically holding the up on D-pad there to complete the hacks in 7 seconds.
Yeah, I don't think we explained that. So basically, what he did was he tried to die and to die in the hex while he was entering the gate. So basically, he would retain his dead state and just being able to basically be invulnerable and being able to pass through everything while hacking. He keeps that state for all upcoming hacks, and basically saves like 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes on the hacks alone.
It's only 50 seconds, so top level.
Well, then I'm just bad at hacks.
Yes, probably top level. I mean, no one has really timed it since 2017, so I don't know how much better people could have actually gotten with the hacks in these past 7 years if we had to actually play them through for the past 7 years. So it was like 55 seconds back in 2017, so it's probably like 50, maybe less.
Yeah, it's not like top runners have much of a reason to play the hacks anymore.
Yes, we literally have not seen it, unless of course someone has failed the attempt to get them. That's about it. So let's see if Ditta is gonna get the windmill firewall cutscene skip.
Not quite.
Ooh, unfortunately, it took a hit from a regular bomb instead of the trigger bomb, so that's another 30 seconds for the Bombers.
Ooh, it is looking dire. Very dire indeed.
Dire. Extremely dire. Now, we can say for sure that the Buccaneers really had some good pick up in their sleeve with the 3-3 for this match, because the difference between runners for the first 2 episodes was quite marginal. Those were both Bombers picks. Phobos did beat Mapioso. I mean, Mapioso did beat Phobos by about 2 minutes, and Turk did ultimately manage to head-to-head beat Professor by about 1 minute and 20 seconds, even though he started 2 minutes later with the delay.
Yep.
So I'd say that delay actually has been a crucial factor in this match, or at least would have, but I think the difference right now. I think at this point, unfortunately, the difference from the late start for the Bombers for the Slide 2 Episode 3 would not have mattered anymore, unfortunately.
No, we are definitely past that point.
Yes.
Yes. So actually saw Nave miss a jump here to the first blimp.
I think, didn't he fail the job intentionally? I didn't pay attention. Probably failed the job intentionally, right?
Oh yeah, wait, no, what am I talking about? You need to fail the job to get the cycles you want.
Yeah, actually the optimal strats failed the job twice here to basically just reset the blimp cycles.
Yep.
We used to fail the job once, but then in around 2017, late 2017, yeah, I discovered a 20 seconds faster route here, which failed boost twice instead of once.
Supert. Bare en til,
The
så er vi
section,
klare.
as stated, 20 seconds faster than before.
Quite
Those were the
epic.
times.
Indeed. We have all the devices placed on the various planes, and now we will be ready for
Okay, Murray. Antennen til den sorte baron.
some shenanigans involving a boat and a big man.
Faller hele greia ned.
Quick note on the boat, and also the EP5 Charlie boat. For some obscure reasons, they move faster when you play this game in 50 FPS, so either on PAL
That's
or
right.
a PAL version of PS3 as the definition is 576. So it's quite inexplicable actually how that works, but yeah.
Frame rate shenanigans.
Yeah, that's actually why optimally Slide 3 Episode 3 is played at 50 FPS. It looks kind of derpy, the scaling is not perfect. It's kind of derpy compared to
Yeah.
60 FPS framing on the remaster version. But I guess it is what it is, and it's also only available for PAL versions. PlayStation 3, PAL PlayStation 3, or the PAL PS2 disc.
We're being informed that the Bloodbath Bay Buccaneers have a 4-minute lead currently,
Yes.
which
so that's
is not looking
basically-
to shrink anytime soon.
Yes. Beauty and the Beast cutscene skip was the crucial point in the run.
Yeah.
Nave got it first try. They did not. Got a second try though, but at that point in the run, it was crucial point. So after
Very
that,
much so.
the day two gauntlet, as Nave also puts it, it has gotten the better of at least did at this point after day 2.
Yes,
So,
indeed.
So we're just gonna check if Nave is gonna sound block here for this operation. Probably didn't. So
Nope.
he's just gonna quickly take out the Baron here. Just
Not quite the
pounding.
optimal path, but still gonna take him down very fast.
Yeah, I don't think that matters at this point for the Buccaneers. That was probably like a 1 second time loss there.
We're talking a few seconds with multiple minutes of leeway.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So here in the Baron boss fight, it's actually optimal to do the multi-hits on Baron.
Oh,
Push attack. Push attack does deal 3 amounts of damage compared to the normal cane swipe, but with multi-hits, which are also present in at least slide 1, if I recall correctly, you can chain multiple hits on Baron. And on average, it is faster than push attacking, even though push attacks deal 3 times the amount of damage. Also, jump attack level 1 if you have it, that deals twice the amount of damage. So interesting mechanics being programmed on this Baron plot for sure.
yeah. Also, I don't know if you noticed, but the windmill blades on Nave's screen did not render for the cutscene, so we just had a little attachment thingy flying into the blimps.
First phase done. Now 9 guards will spawn from the plane. Autoscroller section. You just gotta really drop the final guard as quickly as you can off the platform. That's about it. You can time your inputs. OS Nave is doing is just mashing square to just be sure. Second phase. Now Baron
Yes,
is gonna
indeed.
start jumping on the wing.
Yep.
As well. New attack. He does it right here. Doesn't do it in the first phase. And we are actually reaching the end point of the match for the Buccaneers. He's only 1 phase away from completing the victory for his team. So we'll see Nave probably closing it out in style. Probably getting like 50, 54 or something, which is a really solid time probably this episode.
Yeah. For a marathon, you
Here
cannot
goes
ask for
final
better.
phase. Did doing all he can in the operation for his part, but the difference
Yeah.
is just too great at this
Too great.
point.
now we can say GG's and big congratulations to the Bloodbath Bay Buccaneers on their win.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Very good effort from both teams, but if the runners, if the Bloodbath Bay Buccaneers would like to, they are welcome to join us for a quick talk, a quick interview.
There you go. There you go. Congratulations on the victory, Buccaneers.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, very much.
Brought it
So,
home.
yeah, you got your second victory. You're now positive in your score.
Woo!
That's what I'm fucking talking about, baby.
Hell yeah!
I love it.
So
We can-
Mapiotto, let us. Wait, sorry.
We can hear the enthusiasm from your voice after the match. Really great to hear.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
Yeah, let's start in order from Mapiotto. You were the first runner.
Yeah,
Well,
you had a very solid EP4. How did you feel? How are you feeling about it?
well, I only was like 6 seconds behind my real PV. That's
Oh, wow.
That's amazing. I'm
That's like
really,
49-23. Sheesh! Congratulations.
Wow,
I think I was 23.
that's really well done.
I'm really disappointed from Medical Menace and Hard Target how it went, but it is what it is.
I mean, that's
Um,
still a really solid performance for a marathon setting. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy about the run. I got both costume launches. I'm pretty
that was
happy.
crazy.
Yeah, going for that
Let's
in a
try.
marathon. God damn.
Like
I mean,
really
it-
strong first half as well for you. A strong start really like coasted off. You probably got a lot of confidence from the good start that you were having, don't you think?
Yeah, pretty much. I wasn't like, I didn't have nervous. I wasn't pressurized or something else. So yeah, I'm pretty happy at the end.
That is exactly what you want. Nice. PS2 Professor, you definitely surprised. That was a very solid 2-3 run. How do you feel?
The complete opposite of what you said, especially with my leading Rajan. I've been practicing all day that jump, but I just could not get it. I don't know what happened. I am just glad I was able to like take a deep breath, step back. We're like, all right, let me just go around. The rest of my run was pretty solid. I actually got a 2-minute PB from a 37.50 something down to a 35.50 something.
Nice.
cannot believe that.
Congratulations.
Nice.
Second com PB. I don't know what's wrong with me. You put me in stream for 18 hours this week, I can't do it. The second I get into a competition, I'm at my A game. Really, most of that run was just me just laying back, just playing the game. That's honestly all I could say, really. I put my whole heart into it.
Now, I can comment on the fact that, yeah, leading Roshan was what it was. Most of the other splits seemed to go pretty well, but at the very end in the Roshan fight, you were taking a lot of damage, and it looked kind of clutch. What was going through your mind at the Roshan fight? Did you feel that you're gonna close it, you're gonna lock it in, or did you have any doubts of how it was going?
I'll be honest, I had no doubts. Usually when I get to that fight, I put on the song Man's First Inhibition, and when I'm just playing that, I stare at his health, and I just hit and I jump. I do 3 hits and I jump, and sometimes I miss it, but I have to have confidence in myself if I want to do that fight, and that's what I did.
Absolutely, that can be a very scary fight, but you definitely pulled it off and definitely played a big part in this here victory.
Yeah.
So I think you can definitely be happy with your performance.
I think
Now, Nate,
Oh, sorry.
Yep. no, go ahead.
I think the biggest thing was just. I think the biggest thing was I just did what I was comfortable with, and with an episode I'm not comfortable with at all. I'll be honest, that was not a comfortable episode.
That is absolutely fair. There are a lot of Slide 2 episodes, and you can't be prepared for all of them.
Yeah.
Now, Nave, you had a very solid 3-3 run. Wasn't quite the PP I saw you were asking for in the chat, but I don't think you can complain about such a solid performance.
No, I definitely can't. Not as close to my PB as Map was, 48.5 seconds, but I mean, it was still a solid run for sure. You could tell if you've been watching my stream lately, you know I've been grinding a lot of 3-3 because I was wanting to get a 53, which I finally did a couple days ago.
Yeah, congrats.
But you would also know I've been struggling a lot with the Beauty and the Beast CSS, specifically with rocket boots. So I decided to play it safe in this race and do it without, which paid off. And then also did not go for Giant Wolf Massacre CSS. And then, thankfully for me, the episode 3 day 2 gauntlet just kind of worked out pretty fine. Wasn't too bad there. I do want to comment on my boys' runs from that came before mine. Mappiotho was, every time I pulled up the stream, he was doing like this crazy movement I had never seen before, and he just did really well. Professor did a great job at just being consistent and maintaining that lead that Map helped provide. But even with all that, I still want to hand it to the Bombers at doing a really great job. They kept it really close to us the whole time. I was really nervous. They kept it close to us. Up until I think, unfortunately, some of the Bentley jobs on day 2. I mean, they're rough. They are rough. And from what I saw, every now and then it looked like maybe it didn't go so well. And that, that's what happens in EP3. It sucks. But, go ahead.
It's a very volatile episode, to be sure. There's a lot that can go wrong, but just how it is.
It's a good word for it. Very volatile, for sure. But had a good race. Really appreciative to my team and the Bombers. It was a fun time. And looking forward to the next round.
As am I.
All right.
As am I.
So, I think that's gonna wrap up this little interview, unless you have some closing comments.
Just want to say thanks again.
Thank you again.
And
Play strong, sail straight, Buccaneers all the way.
thank you as well. Now,
Congrats on the win, and we'll see you on the next round once again.
we absolutely will.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
In the final round at this stage in the competition. So we can see from the round 3, the victories went to Jackalopes, Outback, Buccaneers, Vipers, and Lumberjacks. So this is the situation in the standings right now, and the results are in. There you go with the round 4 matchups.
Absolutely. We have some very exciting matchups coming up. We have the 2 undefeated teams, the Jackalopes and the Outbacks, going head-to-head. Then we have the Gunga Falls Sabres going up against the Venice Vipers. The Bloodbath Bay Buccaneers going against the Kunlun Vampires. The Lumberjacks going against the Bombers. And the the England Knights going against the Paris Peacocks for the final round of the Swiss stage.
Yes. So basically, those are the matchups. Probably a lot of speculations about then what's going to happen with the matches is going to take place later. But at this point, this is probably the point where we're going to drop off from the commentary, and the Sly Gold's team is going to pop in and tell us more news about Sly Gold's products real soon.
So everyone, we have announced previously that we're releasing merch, and guess what? We are fucking releasing merch. It's here, it's launched, it's up and ready. So, just going through very quickly here, we have for the Sly Gold's like kind of alone side, we have the Sly Gold's dad hat with the beautiful Sly Gold's logo on the top, embroidered as well. No print on the hats, What,
Oi, oi, oi.
what do you think kind of business we're running here? You know, $21.95. Convert that to your own currency. All good stuff.
Not only do we have the
Two
sly
mugs in
golds,
different sizes, 15 ounce and 11 ounce. Going very American here. They're essentially, for Europeans, they're normal coffee cup and larger coffee cup. Going for $12 both of them. You know, we don't want to have any difference in pricing here. We want to keep it nice and consistent, beautiful. But then, you know, this is the ACES competition, so we have to have an ACES competition hat.
It's a
Going
hat.
for the low amount of $21.95. It might seem a little bit crazy, but the hat is good quality. It is embroidered. It is beautiful. It's a chef's kiss fucking everywhere. It's so beautiful.
I, for one, cannot wait to see Gandhi wear this on stream.
Oh yeah, Gandhi's definitely gonna buy the ACES hat. There's no doubt about it.
as soon as I saw this, I just could picture Gandhi wearing it. That's the first thing I thought of. But
yeah, absolutely. Like, you know, a hat more suited for Gandhi I don't think I've ever seen.
yeah.
Not even a little bit.
So
But,
we
as
got
you
the
can see-
we got the Sly Golds, we have the ACES competition, but we also have team merchandise.
Of course, it's the ACES competition.
What?
The Bombers, from fresh out of the match today. Bombers merch. So you have, here's a little bit of a different thing, right? So we went for white mugs for the teams. It's the classic, it's the nice, everyone likes it, you know. We have the black mugs for Sly Golds to give it a little bit more of a difference here. As you can see here, you have the Buccaneers as well, where you would have, this is more for a right hand facing person. That would be a right-handed person. So the logo would be away from your body and ACES towards you. That can be changed upon request. Feel free to request it if you are left-handed and you want a left-handed cup. We have two different types of hats. It looks the same, but it isn't. So the one for $21.95 is with only the team logo on the front, and the $24.95 one is going to be the team logo with an ACES logo on the right bottom side of the cap. Very nice. Chef's kiss. However, some of the logos didn't work well with the color selections, as you can see here. So we had to make some alterations to some of them. Lumberjacks, Vampires, and some others, Buccaneers, and also Jackalopes had to get some changes in to get these hats working. All other teams should be more or less exactly the same, slight color variant difference because of the limited threads we have. But yeah, it is essentially as good as, oh look at that, the Peacock's hat looking smackdown beautiful. Oh my god.
All of the
I
hats
can't
look
wait to be
very,
rocking that.
very crisp. And if I remember correctly, you can even pick different colored hats.
Oh yes, that is true.
I like this one.
So, we have the hat options we have. There's a little tweak here, but the hat options we have is black, beige, white, red, and camo. However, because of one particular team's logo, this one, the Vampires, it didn't go quite well. So they don't have beige and white, they have dark green and I believe it's navy blue. Just because there's some logo thing. Don't worry about it. However, if you want another color, we'll put out an announcement with all the colors and all the variations we can do and the requests we can have to make specific merch for the specific people. Like you can get a more specific hat if you want with Sly Gold's logo. You can get a custom text, whatever you want to happen, it can happen. It will of course be a little bit higher price. The more things we add onto the hat, the higher the price goes. You know, we can't let the sweatshops, you know, go cheap here. You know, they're an expensive one. So we have to keep it down here and keep it up at the same time, you know.
Only the highest of quality sweatshops here, Sly Golds.
Yes. We only use the Versace sweatshop in Paris or Poland. Don't worry about it. Anyway, so exclamation mark merch. You can go to the store. You can buy the merch, and no one made the link. Good. No one made the fucking link.
Production value.
So
mods.
There we go. That's the link right there. So you might see that it's the Oggerino /merch. The only reason for this is because that I am the money handling guy for Sly Golds. And this account, is tied up to my main Twitch account, which is highly secure, Fort Knox level security. So it will be on that site. Don't worry that it says Ogirine at the top. It is a Sly Golds merch shop. The only other thing I want to mention, we do have kind of a line coming out called the Experience. It's essentially bucket hats with a quote from specific runners. Right now, we only have the Alapo Experience. In the future, we will add more. We'll have to talk to some specific runners, specifically memorable runners that have had stuff happen. I'm gonna just say it right now. I'm going to have a hat there. It's going to be he tossed a rock on the hat. It's gonna be great. Similar hats like that will come out. We will also keep pushing out merch for other events, and also maybe some specific ones. Maybe we have some design coming out of the artistry shop we have going on, aka Chris RL. Might pull out some stops to make some crazy shit happen. Who knows? But it's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be good. If you want to buy some merch, go to the link in the chat, !merch. We will also have it in the Discord, so join the Discord if you haven't already. Very important. Very important.
I'm very excited to order my first hat and mug. I'll be rocking it on stream as soon as it gets here.
Whew. I will definitely as well.
But yeah, as I said with the requests, if you want Sly Gold swimwear, with even my face on it, if you want, we can make that happen. It's all up for anything.
Absolutely incredible.
With that being said, I think we're pending round 4. This is the last match before the last round before we go into the bracket stage.
Yeah, stay tuned for that.
Yeah, there'll be announcements in the server when the next match is scheduled.
And I have to be at work in 4 hours, and I have not slept yet.
Yeah, I'm going to the dentist at 7 a.m.
Oh, hell yeah,
Who
dude.
gives a fuck? Sly Gold, come on.
I would not miss this. For the world. Fuck a job.
Good. On that note,